Hey you, welcome back to my channel. If you clicked on this video for the first time without knowing who I am, my name is Joy. Over here we talk about everything wholesome, everything beautiful. We talk about my life in Australia, motherhood, marriage, migration, if it applies to you, and all that wholesome stuff. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about common mistakes new immigrants make when they come into Australia. See, it's already hard enough that you migrated from your country to another country that you do not know. But let me tell you what is harder. What is harder is coming uninformed or coming and you're like, what is happening? You don't want to make those mistakes, okay? And that's why I'm bringing this video to you. So if you know anybody who just migrated, or you know anybody who is planning to migrate to Australia or to even any other country, because some of these points are just generally applicable to diaspora living, okay? If you know anyone that falls into this category, please do well to share this video with them. You don't know how far I will go for them. Share this video, and for you that is watching, like, subscribe, share, and be a part of our growing community, okay? So without further ado, let's jump right in. So the number one big mistake that new immigrants make when they come into Australia is trying to isolate themselves. Did somebody say isolate? You don't want to even be in that category of people who are, you want to distance yourself. You are new, you're a JJC. What that means is that they can sell you and buy you without even you knowing that you're being sold and bought. Okay, so you want to try your best to be around people as much as you can. I'm sure you already know that no man is an island, okay? And this applies to even moving to a new country. You want to be as sociable and as friendly as possible. This is because you're new to the system, you're new to the environment. You will get easily frustrated by new things, the new developments. You're going to get easily frustrated by how things are done because obviously you're not used to it. So you want to be around people who know these things, people who will guide you so you don't make costly mistakes. There are certain mistakes I made in the early days of my journey into Australia, and I can tell you for free, although I wasn't intentionally isolating myself, I just wasn't around the right people, or I didn't see people to associate myself with. But the moment I saw people, oh my God, the moment I saw people, I jumped on them like my life depended on it, because I didn't want to make mistakes anymore, okay? Now, there are different ways to find people. Just in case you're wondering, how do I find people? I'm here, I'm new, I don't know my way around. First of all, if you're a student, you can start by associating and interacting with your classmates. Now, your classmates comprises of different people from different races, different cultures, different religions. You want to be friendly, you want to reach out to them. I'm not just talking about school related stuff. You can also ask them things around how to get accommodation, how to find your community, right? You need to ask them questions around how to find your own community people, because over here in Australia, every culture has a community, every religion, every whatever part of the world you come from. If you are from Pakistan, India, Asia, Senegalese, anywhere, there are people who are here and who have formed a community. So you need to identify your community in that state where you find yourself, okay? That way it just gives you a sense of belonging. Another way to do that is to find a local church near you, because obviously we know that the church is the house of God where you see different people, okay? When I came, it was quite easy for me because I saw a Nigerian church. Oh my God, going to that church is one of the best decisions I've made in my life, because it just changed everything for me, okay? It not only gave me a sense of belonging, it just made me feel at home, right? It made me feel like I am home away from home, if that makes sense. So you need to be able to come out of your shell and help yourself. In situations where you feel like you're already being mentally affected by the situation, or you feel like you're not coping well, every school has their mental health support group, counseling department, therapies that you can use for free, because you don't have to pay for these things, right? Every school has provision for such situations. So if you feel like you're mentally exhausted, or you feel like you're not coping well as a student, you need to reach out to your school and tell them the situation of things, and they will find a way to support you. Best believe me, they're going to support you, because they don't want you to study and be mentally unstable or not being able to achieve your purpose of being in Australia, because boy, you're paying a lot of money, right? You're paying a lot of money to be there, so you want to maximize it, okay? The next mistake new migrants make when they come to Australia is that they live above their means. This one, it's like I'm about to scatter a table. Now, I know that you feel like you've come into a country that has more benefits, more opportunities, more resources, and you want to grab everything, you want to use everything, you want to maximize the best you can. That is a good thing. Don't get me wrong, that is a good thing. But not knowing your capacity as a person, not knowing your financial abilities, okay? Some people intentionally move from where they live and go to metropolitan cities because they want to live la vida loca, because that's the bubbly, that's the rainy thing, that's where it's happening, that's where things are happening. And you forget that metropolitan cities are way more expensive than regional areas. Okay, the lifestyle is more expensive. If you're going to get food for $10 in regional areas, it's probably $20 in metropolitan cities, right? Now, I'm not saying it's not good. There are benefits of living in these places, especially if you get better job offers and all that. But I'm just saying that if you don't have to, there's no need. Don't impress anybody. Australia is a land where everybody's making money. Okay, everybody's making money. You're not going to impress anybody because you bought a new car. Now, this takes me to another aspect of this point I would like to address. You see people who go and get a phone on finance, you get a car on finance when you know that you don't have the money. I'm not talking about people who have their shit figured out. No, I'm talking about people who, because you want to drive a certain car and you feel like, oh, there's an option for finance, because in your country there was no option for finance for you to be able to drive a Tesla. Now you've seen an option for finance to get a Tesla and you decide, oh, I must drive that Tesla, let me go and buy it. And you need to be calming down, okay? Because you're just setting yourself up for doom, okay? These things are unnecessary. It is totally unnecessary. You need to live within your means. And I'm saying this because I've seen a lot of people who made this mistake. You need to live within your means. In Australia, as well as other countries, there are already so many bills to handle. There are already so much. Like, when I say bills, I mean these are necessary bills that you cannot run away from. You cannot avoid phone bills, you cannot avoid electricity, you cannot avoid rent. There are certain things that are already basic necessities that come rain comes on, you have to foot these bills. You now want to come and add extra gbese on your head because of what? Who are you trying to impress? Okay, so please, you need to learn to live within your means. That way you're not going to feel any kind of pressure. Just live life, take it easy, one day at a time. Okay, the next mistake people make is not staying informed. See, Australia is one country that makes spontaneous decisions. You can wake up one morning and they tell you that, oh, they've changed this law, they've changed this legislation, they've passed a new law, they've done these things are now done differently. The last thing you want to do is to be caught unawares. You don't want to be in a situation where you're not informed about the latest happenings, especially when it affects your life or your visa or your stay in that country. So you need to be informed, okay? You need to stay informed. Ways of doing this is by networking, which I've spoken about earlier. You need to talk to people, you need to stay informed, you need to watch news, okay? Don't act like, oh, you don't know, you don't care. You need to care, because it's not your father that owns Australia, okay? So you need to actually care about what's happening, and also just so that you can take precautions. Because to be honest, you see, in Australia, ignorance is not an excuse before the law. You cannot say you don't know. It's not an excuse, right? Another mistake people make when they come into Australia is not saving for rainy days. So you see this act of saving here. It is one thing that I know that, oh my God, it is very important. So don't let anybody tell you otherwise. You need to save. This is because when you come into the system and you see that, oh my God, you're making so much money, oh my God, you're doing this, there is a pressure of wanting to send money back home, start dashing money to people that are asking you for money, or live the good life. I'm not saying it's not good though. I'm just saying that in all your doings, you have to save, because things can spring up at any point in time. And the last thing you want to do is to go and be calling somebody to borrow money. In Australia, nobody they give anybody money, except people that are your core, people that are your cartel, people that are there. Like, very few of them want to borrow you money. Okay, so you want to save for days that are not so good, because those days will come. To be honest, they will come. Another mistake I've seen new immigrants make in Australia is overusing or underusing their credit cards. This one, I personally fell victim. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys a quick story. So guys, when I came into Australia, they told me that I can put my card, my bank card, which is the ATM card. I could put it on my phone, so I don't need to go around with it. All I need to do is just to go tap and it's a debit, tap and it's a debit. I was like, are you serious? So every time I see myself tapping, and I'm like, what is happening? One day I checked my account and I spent over $3,000 in a week. For what? I couldn't even tell. Like, it wasn't even like I was paying bills. It wasn't bills. It was just on things that I could not even account for. I was like, is that how it is? In this my credit card that I'm even, because there's that opportunity, right? You have the money, you're expected to pay back. Like, it's like a bank transaction thing, right? You collect money, you pay back because you want to build your credit score. Now, it is important to build your credit score. Don't get me wrong. That is very important because it's with your credit score that bank will give you loan. If you want to get mortgage and all those small finances, right? It's with that because they want to be sure that you're trustworthy and you can actually keep to your word, right? Good. But you see, overusing it is a problem because if you now collect and you don't pay back, what does that say? Okay, that is going to be a problem. So personally, I rather underuse than overuse. It's better I don't even have enough than even spending more than what I can afford. So yeah, another mistake new immigrants make when they come to Australia is not pushing back. You see how they tell you something and you say, okay, you have to do this. You don't even negotiate. You don't even tell them, oh, no, it's not convenient for me. You don't push back because you feel like in your head, I shouldn't. I understand that a lot of migrants, especially from the part of the world where I come from, they feel very privileged to be in Australia, or they feel very privileged to even migrate or to even be granted visa. So in your mind, you're like, oh, I need to be very careful. You're working on eggshells because you don't want to do something that will now say, oh yeah, pack and leave our country. Boy, it doesn't work like that, okay? This is because they did not just give you visa to come and be a nuisance in their country. They gave you visa because you're coming to spend your money. They gave you visa because you are in fact, it's your money that made them give you that visa. And because you either came to school and you know how much you pay for your school fees, that's thousands and thousands of dollars. Or you came to work, you're giving your skill to the country, right? So you're giving yourself to them. If you're a liability or a nuisance, they would not bring you. So they brought you because they see you as someone who has value to offer to their system, right? So you need to know that you are as important as their citizens. You are as valuable, if not even more, than their own. So you need to carry yourself accordingly. If you find yourself in a situation whereby they told you, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, question it. Tell them, oh, I'm sorry, this is not convenient for me, or it's not working for me. Let's find a way around it. And 99% of the time, they will find a way around it. That is because Australia is structured to be able to accommodate people and their needs. Okay, their system, even though I know that some of the laws are standard, but some of their policies are not a one-size-fits-all. Okay, the fact that it worked for A does not mean to work for you. So you can always tell them, I'm sorry, this does not suit me. Can we find a way around it? Don't be scared. Because they don't even see you the way you're seeing yourself. Okay, so you need to learn to push back. If there is something that is happening that you're not comfortable with, learn to talk about, learn to push back. I remember one time when a friend told me that the owner of their property increased their rent from, I think, 500 to 650. And they were so livid and they called a meeting and they said, we are not paying this. And they were like, that is so unreasonable. They talked about it. And before you knew it, they negotiated and the rent dropped drastically. I mean, it wasn't the same. It wasn't the old rent, obviously, but the increment wasn't so much, right? So what am I trying to say? Push back, and you'll be amazed at the outcome. And when that happens, don't forget to thank me later. The next point I want to talk about is not being emotionally intelligent. And now this bothers me a lot because I have been on both worlds. I've been in the corporate world. Well, I am in the corporate world and I'm also a business owner, right? So emotional intelligence is something that our culture as Africans does not really teach us, if that makes sense. We are not emotionally intelligent to understand how to speak. We don't understand what soft skills are. We don't know what it means to talk in a fine tune. We don't know what it means to express ourselves without being insultive or aggressive or, these are things that you need to reevaluate. So you find that you move from your home country to another country, you should already know that things are done differently, okay? In your work environment, you should learn soft skills. You should learn to be diplomatic. You should learn to be political in nature. You know how people come and ask you questions like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? It's not anything you just open your mouth, wah, and you start saying. That is because it could actually be a trap, okay? And I'm telling you from experience. Even at work, you see how during lunch breaks or coffee breaks, you and your colleagues are on the table, you guys are gisting, and they somehow throw you a question, and you want to show that, omini knowest, or I know it all, or I can talk, and you start bra 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 bra, saying things you shouldn't say. That is one of the wrongest things you should do. You have to be very diplomatic when you're working with people of different races, different cultures, and different understandings or different beliefs. What you call normal or what you don't take as anything can be offensive to the next person, okay? And now I need to state this here. For some of you that think that your work colleagues are your friends because you guys are besties, you guys talk about a lot of things, you guys go for lunch and whatever together, that's a lie. Your colleagues are not your friends. I don't know if I need to use a microphone that is louder than this one to say this thing, but your work colleagues are not your friends. And this is because you see that time when you are talking anyhow, they ask you a question or something happens in the office. I bet you the person that will go to HR, is that your bestie? The person that will send that email to HR, that's your chummy friend at the office. You'll be surprised. And I'm telling you from experience. So I said all of this to say that you need to be emotionally intelligent. You need to be discerning to know when to shut up and when to speak. And even when you're speaking, you need to talk little. Don't talk too much. Don't over talk. Okay? You need to know these things. Now in Australia, there are certain topics that are very easily misunderstood, that are easily triggering. And because you are a person of color, they might want to ask your opinion. And you're like, oh, your mind, you'll be thinking, oh, these people rate me. They don't rate you. They just want to set a trap for you. Okay? So you need to know when and how to avoid such topics. And if you must say something, speak very little. And it's also okay for you to tell them, oh, I don't have anything to say about this topic, or oh, I have no idea. You can also tell them, I don't feel comfortable discussing this. There's no big deal about that. Instead of putting yourself, because you see that thing that you said, it will be used against you in the court of law. Take it from me. Okay, so yeah, you need to be emotionally smart. Okay, the next mistake new immigrants make when they come to Australia is not being willing to unlearn and relearn. Now, this can pose as a very big problem to you. You know how they say when you're in Rome, you behave like the Romans? That applies to almost everything, and I'm not joking. When you find yourself in a country that is totally different from where you come from, you see that things are done differently. Best believe you need to adjust. You need to adjust your mindset, your mentality. You need to adjust the way things are done. Like I said before, our culture doesn't encourage soft-spokenness, okay? And this also goes further to other things. You see how people talk very carelessly back home. Over here, people don't talk like that. You see that 5 magic words that they always talk about: thank you, please, sorry. Those things are very important. A person might decide not to give you a job simply because you did not say thank you, or because you did not say please, or you did not put the right words, or you're not even soft-spoken, or you don't have manners. Okay, you might think having manners is something that is trivial. It's not. Okay, these people take these things too seriously. Again, especially because you're a person of color, so you can be easily misunderstood. So you can be easily misconstrued. Okay, people will take offense easily because they feel like you're doing it on purpose, even though you know in your heart of hearts that you're just being ignorant, or you don't even know what you're doing, right? So you need to be very careful. This also implies to husband and wife relationship. You see how husband and wives behave. You know how African marriages can be. Over here, things are done differently, right? A lot of things that we know as norm is not normal here. It's not the usual. Okay, so as a man, you should be willing to unlearn those patriarchal thoughts of I'm the man of the house. It's not my role to clean diapers. It's not my role to cook for my wife or to cook for the kids. You need to unlearn all those things if you want to live happily, if you want to coexist, if you want this abroad life to work for both of you. You need to be able to unlearn all those things and be open to learn new things. Okay, even as a woman, the idea of, oh no, it's my husband that is the provider, I'm a housewife. There's nothing like being a housewife in abroad. Okay, very few people have the luxury, and even people that have the luxury of being housewives, trust me, 99% of the time it's not their will to be housewives. They're probably just in a season where they can't work. Okay, so as a woman, you need to unlearn that it's not only the man that will bring bread to the table or provide for the family, you need to pull your weight as well. Okay, so all these things sum up to the point, which is unlearning those things you already know and being open minded and being willing to learn new things in order for your family to be able to work. Okay, the next point I want to talk about, which is very crucial, is not creating a work life balance. Hey God, this one is, I don't know. I don't know. In the last couple of months, we've heard stories of Nigerians just slumming and dying just like that. You see people who just slum and die, or people who just they go to work, they are so sick and they keep pushing because they want to make money and they slum, and before they get to the hospital is either cardiac arrest or one thing or the other, and they pass on like that. See, it is very easy for you to forget your physical and mental health in abroad. And that is because we're always chasing the dollar. We're always wanting to make money. And it is not our fault, because the system is structured in a way that you have to keep working to be able to afford your needs, right? So it is not our fault. But it becomes your fault when you don't create a balance. You don't create a balance as to when to rest. You know you're tired, you know you're feeling sick, you know your body is giving you signs, your body is showing you signs that they are shutting down, and yet you still go ahead to work. Why are you deceiving? Like, what are you trying to do? Okay, you see that your family members are suffering. They're always telling you daddy is not home, mommy is not home. You don't want to create a balance so that you have family time, you have time to work, you have time for other things. It's not only work that we came to this country to do. Some of us have talents, some of us have hobbies that we don't even do anymore. You're a man back home, you used to play football every weekend, or you play football once a week, and you know that playing football helps you because it's a way of exercising. You don't do that anymore. You don't do the regular things you do. You don't even go on date nights or dates with your wife, or you don't even take time for your family anymore. This is something that is destroying a lot of our people. You need to create balance, because guess what? You see this dollar we are chasing, we will not stop chasing it. It's like a circle. You keep running in that circle, you keep running, and before you know it, you look up and you're 65, you're ready to retire. And you're retiring to what? You don't have a good family. You've not built an enviable home. You don't have anything to look back to, because you were working round the clock. This is something we need to actually work on as Africans, especially as immigrants. I'm not even talking about Africans right now, as immigrants, because like I said before, you move, so you're trying to break patterns, you're trying to impress your family, you're trying to carry so many burdens. People back home are probably calling you, send money, momsy is sick. You're trying to do so many things at the detriment of your life and the life of your family. I think a word is enough for the wise, really, because just thinking about it, I'm so displeased by the stories we're hearing these days. It's really appalling. It is appalling. Another mistake new immigrants make when they come to Australia is not making proper research. Guys, you need to do your research even before you come in, okay? Don't wait until you come into Australia before you start navigating things. You need to do your research. The moment you feel like you're already working towards migrating, start doing your research on how to find an accommodation if you don't have anybody here, your school, what are the potentials, the course you're studying. If you're thinking of staying in Australia permanently, is it a pathway for permanent residency? What kind of job do you want to do? How do you go about it? You start asking questions, you start making research. The state your school is, if you're coming as a student, the state your school is located, what are the benefits, what can you get out of that state? If you're coming as a skilled worker where you know that you're probably going to be anywhere, you look for the best states, okay? You look for the best states to go to, states that are more affordable for your lifestyle, okay? These are the things you have to look out for. You need to do your research so that you can make informed decisions. Like I said before, sometimes we make mistakes not because we want to, but because we're not informed enough, because we don't know, and by the time you realize it's late. and then you're trying to gather spilled milk. So you need to make sure that you have all your information's right. This also goes back to the point I made earlier about asking questions. You need to ask questions. Don't ever feel like you're asking too many questions. In my culture, they will always say, when you're not judge, you're not hateful. A person that asks will never miss his way. Okay, so you need to keep asking questions. And sometimes I know that the questions might seem dumb, or just put it out there. You'll be surprised what you will find. Okay, the last mistake people make when they come to Australia is getting stuck in survival jobs. Now you come into a country, and this doesn't even apply just to Australia, it applies to just moving out of your home country to another country. You come in and you feel like, I need to start from somewhere. Obviously you have to start from somewhere, because you can't count two without counting one, right? You have to start from somewhere. But in a situation where you now start from one and you now stay in one, you don't want to move to two, to three, to four, you get stuck in that job that you're doing, that cleaner job, or that gateman job, or that carer job, whatever it is you're doing that is putting food on your table, forgetting that there is more to it. That's why you're in a developed country. That's why you left everything back home to seek greener pastures. Okay, that's why you left your family and all the things you know to come and pursue a better future. And you think getting stuck at a job, doing a job 5, 10 years, 15 years is all there is to life? Even as a 9-to-5er, you're doing a 9-to-5 job, you probably got a very good job that pays you so well, that is very good for you, that helps your family structure, all that good stuff. Don't get stuck. Personally, I don't even like the idea of being at a job for more than 2-3 years. After 3 years, you've probably learned all you need to learn in that job, I promise you. And then you move on to the next. Now, you're moving on to the next, and the next one you're moving to obviously will be way better than where you are. Okay, so don't feel too comfortable at a position because, this job is giving me all I want, so therefore, no, that's not all there is to life. Okay, that's not all there is to life. There is more from where that came from. I don't even know why I'm saying this, but you get the point, right? So, and sometimes I know it's not easy because in your mind you're like, I finally gotten what I want. I finally created a balance for my family. I don't want to move out of this. Things don't work that way. Okay, anyway, thank you so much for watching my video. Let me know in the comments what mistakes you made as a new migrant. Let me know if any of these points resonate with you. Let me know if you want to add more points to this point, because I'm sure I did not name all of them. These are just the ones on the top of my head. Okay, thank you so much for watching my video. Again, if this is your first time, welcome to our community. We love to have you here. We're grateful that you're here. Okay, and if you're an OG, thanks for sticking with me, guys. Thank you so much, and until next time, bye.